So I read a bit about it yesterday before I came down. And actually coming down and seeing it and just seeing all the stage, you know, I read the kind of the inside out blurb, and it's amazing to see it really does work. So I'm fairly proud to be stood here saying that we've had a role in building this. Okay, so that kind of gives you a feel for who we are. This is the only horrible slide that I've got. Actually, no. So this one and the next one are the only horrible slides that I've got. In my eyes, but I think it's important because you've asked to sort of get a feel for how we do this and why a company like us do it. I thought I'd try and just show an overview where we fit into the company. And if at the right-hand side you've got the forces that push the direction that we go in, and that's kind of our staff, where sort of research funding is coming from, our links through to higher education establishment and research. And then on this side you've actually got. And all this is to do with the ecosystem of research and innovation within Arup. So I should have that clear at the start. And then at this side, you've got the clients wanting to be thought leaders. So everybody within the hotel world, for example, the hotel sector wants to have the thought leader hotel out there. They want to have the next best hotel that no one's ever done before, but it's only with proven technology. So you've always got that kind of disconnect that's playing out there. But the clients, you've got the steep drivers, which we're going to go into in a bit, and then sort of in between. So if there's kind of the two forces, that one that pushes and one that pulls. The bit in the middle is kind of showing the activities that we do in the different timescales. So on the far right, where we've got the now, we've got things like skills networks. Which on the next slide, we've got the projects that we do, the training. And then in this middle bit in the 3 years, this is where we've got a lot of internal investments that we put back into the firm. Because we're a partnership, we don't have any shareholders, so we've got nobody telling us what to do. So as a firm, every year we plough the profits back, we plough a proportion of the profits back into the company, and we as a firm decide how we're going to invest those. So there's a whole variety of different portfolios, research funds that we can apply for. In the middle, we've got the research group. We're trying to work with the different businesses to try and build research roadmaps. And typically, we do this with external parties as well, to try and understand what technologies are going to be coming up that are important. And then we've got the drivers of change, which is the kind of the much more macro, sort of bigger level issues, things like urbanisation, demographics, all things that are going to matter to us, but which are slightly philosophical in some way. Okay, so I'm going to dip into those three time horizons if I can. So we do have these skills networks, which there's about 50 or 60 of them now formally within the firm. There's lots of kind of unofficial ones that also exist. And if you imagine, because we're a project-based company that is global, we've got lots of repetition, we've got lots of little silos across the company. So you'll have structural engineers working all over the place. But we have a structural engineer skills network that can connect them across the world, basically to share best practice. And we've got all the typical kind of community tools internally that we use to help them work. We've also got a research team. The R&D group that I first joined back in 2000 was now being distributed across the firm. And the simple idea there was that, well, actually, again, project-based companies, typically people are doing R&D with their own local universities, right across the world. So it's a very distributed network of people. The research director that now exists is there to basically provide support for people doing work. So we have research managers who help people to put in applications to get things like industry, academic, government funding, that kind of thing. And they build the roadmaps. You can see the different kinds of tasks they're doing there, the IP commercialisation as well, for example. And then you've got, which is going to be the focus of this talk. So from here on in, I'm just going to talk about what our team does now and kind of how it fits within Arup. So essentially, we are a team that is tasked with helping to think about these medium to long-term futures. The team is quite a mix of strange people. It's led by an architect stroke structural engineer. We have an architect, we have a physicist, an economist, an art historian, I'm a geek, so there's a geek in the team. There's also social scientists. Plus we have a continuous stream of interns coming through. So you've got the old blood there who are all set in their ways, we all know what the future is, and we kind of keep on churning things out. We get a bunch of interns that come through and challenge us over time and help us to think about the new stuff. But we have 6 working assumptions. So I thought I'd explain these just to help you get a feel for how we work. And the first one is to me is quite important, this idea of gut, heart and head. Within the firm, we've got lots of head people. Engineers are great for proving to the nth degree whether something will work or not. So from the head perspective, we can figure out if things are going to work. Buildings are going to stand up. If financial models are probably going to work. At the heart level, you've also got the things that we believe in. So Aru's philosophy of sustainable design has actually been maintained throughout the company. So I would argue that this kind of whole green or sustainable bandwagon that we're all on at the moment, that's been the philosophy for the past 60 years now, and people have joined the firm because of that. So we do have a kind of strong kind of heart component where we actually believe in certain things, and people's values are different across the firm, but they're more or less aligned in one direction. And the gut thing is just this feeling that we have, the kind of the unquantifiable thing that you're not quite sure how to explain why you believe something, or a future is going to be a certain way, but you just kind of believe it. And the way I like to argue for this is that they say that within the first 57 seconds of interviewing someone, you've actually made up your mind whether you are probably going to take that person or not. And you then spend the remaining 59 minutes justifying why you should take that person on and making sure you have the evidence to be able to do that. We can kind of believe that to a degree. The second one is that I don't have the answer. The team doesn't have the answer, and we do have to remind people of this. We're not trying to find out what the answer to what the future might be. What we're trying to do is to help people write various different scenarios around what the future might be, so that they can start to proactively work towards going towards one of those or responding to changes that makes us head in one of those directions. The third one is this idea around emergence. I guess this was partially because we're quite a small team. And initially there were 2 of us, so very small. And so literally we couldn't do the research ourselves. So we're trying to look for techniques that would allow us to actually, in effect, crowdsource ideas. And so we've spent the past 6-7 years actually just asking people about what they think drivers are going to be. And we've been processing all that data up. So we've been filtering lots of stuff that's all out there. And the quote that I like associated with this is one of, can you read William Gibson's sci-fi books? But he's got this quote, the future's already here, it's just not evenly distributed. And that's kind of quite a nice phrase, because a lot of things that you see that you think are new, they're not, they've just been applied somewhere else, and people are continually iterating things in new situations. So again, that's something that we try and make sure that we're covering when we do an event, for example. If it's an event about hotels, only half the participants can be from that sector. You have to have at least half the people not from that industry, otherwise you'll just get people talking about the same issues. Only humans make boxes. Whilst expertise is important, we also think that the collaboration, the networks, looking at the ecosystem view of the environment is actually kind of quite important. Arup typically employs T-shaped people, where T-shaped people that have one very good, strong discipline where they can be expert in, but they've also got a whole range of other capabilities that could be actual skills in themselves, or they could just be being able to communicate well, or to project manage well. This idea of T-shaped people is very important. If you think about the balance of that T, typically it's half and half, or 2/3 and 1/3 maybe. I alluded to this already, but one of our assumptions is that we haven't found any more planets for us to go and live on yet. This sometimes feels to us like people don't quite get this yet. But there is kind of a strong philosophy within the team, actually within the company in general probably, where we believe that a sustainable future is critical. So, and the sustainable aspect of that is